Hey friends, welcome back to the homestead. So apparently I've been gardening wrong this whole time, but today we're gonna do it the right way. So we're out here at our previous garden area, and in all honesty, it's probably gonna be about the same place. We're just gonna move it all over just a little bit more so that we can have a pathway here for the tractor. We're gonna add 2 more garden boxes, raised beds, but then we're gonna have a 20 by 30 in-ground garden where we're gonna do tomatoes, potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, some other vegetables, and then in the raised beds we'll probably do things like lettuces and herbs, maybe some peppers and different things like that we're experimenting with. But I had a good friend of mine come over from Bantam Farm.
Let's see what it tastes like. Just as good as I remember it. There you go. You now have cinnamon twist, French toast, got a killer waffle sauce, a little Irish cream. Enjoy it.
And he gave me some pointers because we've always been dealing with not only pests and weeds like every other gardener in the world, but just knowing how to manage those and how to get good soil. He told me, he said, stop trying to manage the weeds and just kill them all. That's a pretty good idea. So what he encouraged me to do was till up the area that I'm going to be planting in, test the soil to make sure that we have everything that we need, all the right nutrients in there. And then once we've tilled it all up and treated it, cover it with a 6 mil black plastic. Today we're gonna focus on tilling up our garden area. Now I've measured it or figured it out, and roughly we're gonna look at 20 by 30 area that we're going to plant in. That'll give us enough room for about 5 rows, 5 30-inch rows that we can plant in with about a 12-inch walkway in between. This is the trellis system that we used last year for the tomatoes. It worked all right, not great, but all right. But we gotta get all this taken out so that we can get the tractor in here and till it up. These are just held on by zip ties, so snipping those off, rolling up the wire, and getting those out of the way. And then we'll use the tractor to pull these up because they can be a pain in the butt at times.
I can't make the sun rise. I can't tell you why I would even try. I can't speed up or slow down the time, and I can't tell the sky to rain or the stars to shine. Oh no, I'm not in control.
My John Deere 4052 tractor. We've got the fork attachment on the front end loader, and what we'll do is we'll just hook a chain around the forks, wrap it around the post, and pull straight up. Should make it come out just like butter. I realize these tea stakes are not all that difficult to get out of the ground, especially short ones like this. But when you've got a tractor's here to reduce the level of manual labor needed to do something, thus prolonging my ability to do things over a long period of time. But to get these out of the ground, you just shake it back and forth, loosen it up, do it a couple different ways, and then once it's got a hole big enough, spin down, pull it straight up. It's not too much effort, but it's more than jumping on the tractor and pulling it up with just chain. So the first thing that we do before we start tilling up the garden is we need to plot out where the garden's gonna go. So for that, I've just got some pieces of wood that we'll stake into the ground at the 4 corners. So we'll measure out the area that we want, stake in those corners, and then we should just be able to till up that square area. So we want our garden to line up with these 2 boxes on this far edge and then go about 30 feet this direction. So let's measure that out. Okay, so now that we've got our long side, that's 30 feet long, what we'll do is we'll measure from those stakes about 90 degrees this direction, 20 feet. That'll give us our 20 by 30 plot, and then we'll measure across just to square it up, make sure that everything's nice and square. "36 feet 1 inches. So when you measure something on a diagonal, what that gives you is the hypotenuse between 2 triangles. Now you want 2 equal triangles in this rectangle, so that means the hypotenuse has to be the same distance for each one. Now that means if I measure from that corner to this corner and get 36 feet 1 inch, and I measure from the opposite corner on the opposite side, that means I should get 36 feet 1 inch exactly if the 2 triangles are exactly the same. "36 feet 1 inch. So our rectangle is square within an inch, and I think that that's good enough for what we're trying to accomplish. Now that we got all the big stuff out of the way, it's time to make quick work of tilling the garden. I'll show you what we're going to be using. Now this right here is the 6-foot tiller. I borrowed this from my father-in-law a couple days ago because they weren't using it this year. We've used this before and it does a really good job of tilling up the garden, makes quick work of it, a couple of passes back and forth. We're able to get pretty deep. One thing that you want to make sure of is that these bottom skis are adjusted so that they're fairly level with the ground that you're going to be tilling. So that way you get a nice, clean, smooth till and everything turned over and loosened up evenly throughout the whole garden. The way that you do that is pretty easy. This adjustment arm on the 3-point hitch just turns. It's got a screw and it just loosens, which you drop this back or pick it up, just depending on which way we need to go. We actually had to tighten it all the way down to get them leveled up, but we should be in good shape to get tilling now. So after just a couple of passes, you can see how loose all the soil is. We've gone down, I'd say that's about 6 inches or so, 6 to 8 inches down. We've pulled up all the grasses, all the little weeds, and what this is going to do is this is going to encourage all of those roots and weeds and seeds that were down there in the dirt. It's going to encourage them to germinate. But what's going to happen is we're going to go ahead and cover this all with 6 mil black plastic so that all of those seeds, when they germinate, they'll be starved of sunlight and they'll die. Then we'll take the plastic off, we'll run another couple passes, till it up again, do that process all over again, and that way most of the seeds will have died and we won't have to worry too much about those weeds growing back up through the plastic and starving our plants of the nutrients that they so desire. Isn't that right, Cole? Isn't that right? Yes, yes, yes it is. Friends, that's about all the time that I've got for you today, but we've got a couple of passes done on the garden. I'll probably do a couple more just to get things loosened up as much as possible before we go ahead and cover it with the black plastic. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully we'll have a good start on this year's garden. Hopefully it'll be a success. We won't have to deal with weeds. We've actually got a plan in place instead of just brute force hard work. And you know, sometimes you get the idea in your head that, well, this is just the way you've got to do it. You got to go out there and you got to weed the garden, and you fail to think of things that, or tools that will make your life easier and make it easier for you to accomplish your goals while you're still able to free up your time to do other things. Doesn't mean that it's going to have no time investment at all. There'll be a significant time investment on the front side of things, but overall it should save us some time and heartache and be able to make and produce our own food for our own homestead. But having a resource like the tractor, like the tiller, makes all the world of difference. Appreciate my father-in-law for being so willing to let me borrow that. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this video informative or entertaining in any way, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. And if you've not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing and see more of what we have going on the homestead. We'll see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.